Hey everyone, and welcome back. Looks like we're diving into Oracle Corporation today.
Well, let's kick things off with some good news.
Okay, lay it on us.
Oracle's second quarter results for fiscal 2025 are looking pretty darn impressive.
They are.
Oh, yeah.
In what way?
Well, they beat earnings forecasts and their revenue growth is really strong,
Huh, interesting.
especially when you look at their cloud infrastructure, OCI.
Okay, so remind me what that is again?
That's their cloud computing platform.
Right.
So that segment saw revenue jump by a whopping 52%.
52%. Wow.
And a lot of that is driven by the demand for AI.
Okay, so a 52% jump in revenue, that's a big deal.
It is.
But what does that tell us about Oracle's overall strategy, big picture?
It really shows they're becoming a major player in the AI and cloud computing space.
They're not just that old database company anymore.
Exactly, they're evolving.
Cool. So how does that tie in with their remaining performance obligations? That RPO number.
Well, their RPO is sitting at a massive $97 billion.
Wow. $97 billion.
Yep.
That's a lot of future business already lined up.
Right.
Like, even if things slow down, they've got a pretty good safety net.
Yeah, it's a strong indicator of continued demand.
So it's not all sunshine and roses for Oracle, is it?
Well, even with that strong performance, their stock actually dipped after the earnings release.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would that happen?
It seems investors might be a little unsure, probably because of the tough competition in the cloud market.
Yeah, those big players like AWS and Azure.
Exactly.
It's a tough battleground.
It is, even with great numbers.
It's not a guaranteed win.
No.
Makes you wonder, We've got all these different analyst opinions, too.
Right.
Some are super bullish, saying the stock could hit $220.
Yeah, those are the optimists.
And then you've got others who are like, hold on, let's be cautious.
They're recommending a hold rating.
It's a real mixed bag.
It is.
So how do we make sense of all these conflicting views?
Well, you have to dig into the reasoning behind each opinion.
Okay, so walk me through it.
Well, the bullish analysts are likely impressed by Oracle's strengths.
Okay, like what?
Like, their cloud infrastructure is generally faster and less expensive than competitors.
Really?
Yeah, especially for AI workloads, which is a hot market right now.
I can see why that would make them excited.
Right. And they also offer more flexible deployment options,
Like what?
like multi-cloud agreements, so they can appeal to a wider range of customers.
So they're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
Smart move.
Ah.
But what about those analysts who are more hesitant? What are they worried about?
I think they're focusing on the potential risks.
Okay, what kind of risks?
While Oracle is spending a lot of money to expand their OCI capacity, building those data centers.
Right.
So that means high capital expenditures or CapEx. And those big investments can make investors nervous,
Yeah, I can see that.
especially with the pressure from giants like AWS and Azure.
Always breathing down their necks.
Exactly. So Oracle needs to keep innovating and grabbing market share to justify those costs.
It's a high-stakes game for sure.
It is.
All right, let's shift gears a bit and talk about this insider trading stuff.
Okay.
I always find insider trading a little bit mysterious.
It can be tricky to interpret.
Yeah, what are these insiders seeing that we're not?
Well, remember, it's not always about secret information.
Right.
Sometimes it's just people making personal financial decisions.
Okay, that makes sense.
However, in this case, it's worth noting that Oracle's CEO recently bought a significant amount of stock.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what does that tell us?
Well, it's generally seen as a good sign.
How so?
It suggests that the CEO, who knows the company better than anyone,
Right.
is confident enough to put their own money in.
So they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got a CEO who's bullish on Oracle, but we also have analysts who are kind of split,
Yeah.
and the stock dipped even though they had a good quarter.
It's a complicated picture.
It is. It's not black and white.
Investing rarely is.
That's for sure.
Understanding these different viewpoints and risks is really key for making smart decisions.
And that's why we're taking this deep dive.
Exactly. We're trying to break it all down.
Awesome. So let's keep digging. In the next part, we'll go deeper into Oracle's financials, those impressive gross margins.
And how they're managing those big capital expenditures.
We'll also look at how they're giving back to shareholders with dividends and buybacks.
So stick around. There's a lot more to uncover.
And if you're finding this helpful, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss the next part.
We'll be back in a jiffy to continue our analysis of Oracle.
Okay, we're back.
Back for more.
Ready to dive deeper into Oracle's financials.
Yeah, let's do it.
You mentioned gross margins earlier. Can you remind me why those are important for evaluating Oracle's?
Sure. So gross margin, it's basically a way to measure how profitable a company is.
Okay, so how much money they're actually keeping.
Right. After they've covered the direct costs of making their products or services,
And what's Oracle's gross margin like?
it's consistently above 70%.
Wow, that's pretty high, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's very healthy.
So for every, $100 they bring in,
They're keeping about $70.
after paying for production.
Yep.
What does that tell us about Oracle's position in the market?
It shows they're running a tight ship,
Efficient,
Very efficient.
and that they have some pricing power.
Yeah, they can charge a premium for their products and services, and people are still willing to buy.
That's got to be important in the cloud market, right? Where
Oh.
everyone's competing on price.
Oh, absolutely.
But we talked about Oracle spending a ton of money to
Yeah.
expand their OCL.
Right, building those data centers.
Those high capital expenditures. How does that fit in with these healthy margins?
Well, it's a bit of a balancing act.
Okay, how so?
Oracle is putting billions into these new data centers to keep up with cloud demand.
And especially that AI demand, right?
Oh, yeah, those AI applications need a lot of computing power.
It's crazy.
They're building the infrastructure for the future, basically.
It sounds expensive.
It is. It's a costly endeavor.
But they're betting that these investments will pay off eventually.
Exactly. They're projecting double-digit revenue growth.
For the whole year.
For the fiscal year, yeah.
That's ambitious.
And they expect their cloud revenue to exceed $25 billion.
$25 billion.
But, investors will be watching to see if Oracle can actually make a profit in the cloud.
Without sacrificing growth.
That's the key.
It's a tough line to walk.
It is.
Especially with all these different analyst opinions flying around.
Right. Some are really optimistic.
And others are a little more cautious.
Uh.
What do you think is important to watch, given these different perspectives?
I think their performance in the AI space will be critical.
Okay, why is that?
They're really pushing to be a leader in AI.
And they've got that massive supercomputer, right?
Yeah, that's a real game changer.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is, but it takes more than just hardware to win in AI.
You're right. You need the software, the brains behind it.
Exactly.
So what else should we be thinking about when we're trying to figure out Oracle's future?
Well, one thing we haven't touched on is their commitment to giving back to shareholders.
Like dividends and buybacks?
Yep, they've got a history of doing that.
Which is always a good sign, right?
It is. It shows confidence in their long-term outlook.
And it gives investors a nice return.
Right.
So to recap, we've got a company with strong margins.
They're investing heavily in OCI.
They're laser-focused on AI.
And they're taking care of their shareholders.
It's a complex picture, that's for sure.
Absolutely. There's a lot to consider.
Strengths and weaknesses to weigh up.
They're doing well, but they face some fierce competition.
They're making bold moves in AI, but there's always risk involved.
At the end of the day, it's up to each investor to decide how all this fits into their own investment goals.
You've given us some really valuable insights to help with that process.
I'm glad I could help.
Now, I want to hear from our listeners.
Yeah, what are you guys thinking?
What stands out to you about Oracle?
What questions are you grappling with?
We'll be back in a sec to wrap up our deep dive.
And leave you with a final thought-provoking question.
We're back. So I hope you've had some time to really think about everything we've covered on Oracle.
Yeah, it's been quite a deep dive.
There's a lot to process, but that's the whole idea, right?
Absolutely. We want to give you a 360-degree view.
Explore a company from all angles.
Understand all the complexities.
And with Oracle, the big story is that they're really at a crossroads.
Kind of a make-or-break moment?
They're trying to shake off that image of just being a database company.
Right.
And become a real powerhouse in cloud and AI.
A complete reinvention.
But whether they can actually pull it off, well, that's still a big question mark.
It's a gamble.
It really is.
They're walking this tightrope.
Trying to balance growth and profitability.
With these tech giants breathing down their necks.
And then you've got this whole AI revolution happening right beneath them.
It could launch them forward, or it could trip them up.
It's a fascinating situation, there's no doubt about it.
So much potential, but so much uncertainty.
The stakes are high.
For sure.
So for you, our listener, the one who's been doing all this research on Oracle,
Yeah, what's the takeaway?
hopefully this deep dive has given you a clearer picture.
Of the company, its strengths, its weaknesses.
The challenges, the opportunities.
We've looked at all the different opinions.
We've dug into their financials.
And explored their vision for the future.
Now it's up to you to decide.
How all this information fits into your own investment strategy.
The key takeaway, I think, is that Oracle is in transition.
It's a company that's rapidly evolving.
And that transformation is definitely worth watching.
Will they succeed? Only time will tell.
All right, to wrap things up, we want to leave you with one final thought.
Something to chew on.
Imagine you're the CEO of Oracle.
You're steering this ship through some choppy waters.
What would your next move be?
What bold decisions would you make to guarantee Oracle's success in the years to come?
Think about that, because the cloud wars are just getting started.
And the race for AI is heating up.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into Oracle.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell.
So you don't miss any of our future deep dives,
We're always exploring new companies, sharing insights.
helping you navigate the world of business and tech,
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning.
and keep diving deep.